So tell us about your site and what type of research you conduct.
So our site is based in Lansing, Michigan, and our roots are a sleep clinic first, and then we're delved into research. But we're focused solely on sleep research, and we help our patients who have rare sleep disorders like narcolepsy. So that's really our main focus area.
What makes your research center unique?
So our research center, like I said, is one of the very few or handful, I would say. There are only two or three in Michigan that are actually focused on sleep research. And because we're 100% sleep medicine group, so our focus is razor sharp on sleep disorders like narcolepsy. So that really what puts us in the driving seat, because we're not just researching and then letting patients hang around for someone else to take care of. We're much more holistic approach in the sense that they have access to all kinds of cutting edge treatments, but then after the research trials are over, we take care of these patients through our sleep clinic. So I think that makes our center really unique.
Why are you interested in narcolepsy and narcolepsy research?
So reason I got interested in narcolepsy actually goes back to year 2011, I want to say, when I saw my first narcolepsy patient in Dr. Minio's lab. Dr. Minio is the physician who came up with the mechanism behind narcolepsy. So that was very fascinating. So I've been caring for narcolepsy patients ever since. So last 14, 15 years or so. And it blows away my mind how different every person is, even though their symptoms are pretty similar. Also, narcolepsy patients suffer from being ignored for a long, long time. Their symptoms are so vague that it takes a long time to actually come up with a diagnosis. And that's very challenging for me as a clinician and as a researcher. And on top of that, we don't really have great medications, great cures for narcolepsy at this point, which we take it as a challenge to help progress science in narcolepsy treatment. So that's really what drives me.
How do you typically reach out to individuals interested in participating in a study?
So there are several avenues for that. For example, some of these patients were routinely taking care of them in our sleep clinic, like I said. So once we recognize them, we'll bring it to their attention that, hey, we have these research trials that you could be part of. And generally, they appreciate that sort of offering. We also are in the process of upgrading our website, so there will be a lot of advertising on our website itself. So, because we know our patients get, they're researching, they're doing their own web searches. So we want to make sure that that avenue is being used. And then also we reach out to these patients personally, either via phone calls or via emails, so that we help them enroll in these trials. And then, of course, there are some other websites out there. For example, narcolepsyproject.com is out there where patients can go and look at most current trials that are being run on narcolepsy. And in fact, it has a pretty cool feature where they can locate a trial close to their own location and once they put in their address. And it'll bring up the list of trials that are active in their region, in their area, in their city.
What are participants at your site saying about their experience?
So the participants in our research site are very pleased with our service, with our professional staff. We pay razor sharp focus to confidentiality, privacy, so they can rest assured that this is something we take very, very seriously. In fact, this is also an avenue for them to advance and further the science of sleep so that we can both together identify and pursue the treatments for sleep disorders that we don't have yet. So I think that's a very satisfying feeling for our participants.
What benefits should a patient consider before participating in a clinical trial?
See, each trial is unique in how it's designed. So we follow principles of good clinical practice. We make sure they're comfortable. We spend detailed time in during the intake and screening and make sure all their questions are answered and they're comfortable with what is being presented to them and that they understand, and not just comfortable, that they also understand what this trial is all about. And then, of course, most of the sleep research trials will include sleep studies, and we have very clean and nice facilities, just like a hotel, to perform the sleep testing, and we have state-of-the-art technology that we're using. So it's very fulfilling for these patients because they're not just being participants in the research trials, but they're also getting access to very comprehensive sleep health examinations. They're having access to all the cutting edge medications that or therapies that are coming out through research. And then, of course, like I mentioned, we pay great attention to their confidentiality, their privacy, so that they don't have to worry about those pieces.
What should a patient expect at your facility when participating in a sleep study?
Patients should consider, well, number one, their availability, their schedule, but really the biggest motivation for patients is that, hey, my current treatments, my current therapies are not working so great. And so then I have access to all this cutting edge therapies that is at their disposal. And that's really the big draw for these patients, is to try the newer medications that are out and not yet on the market, but that are being researched. So that's the biggest draw. Then, of course, there are patients who do it for sake of advancing science, and there are partners in advancing the sleep science. So I think it's very satisfying for those participants as well. And then, of course, there is some compensation so that they're not wasting their time. That we know they take time off from work, time off from family, so we make sure that that is being compensated for them.
Are you aware of any good resources for individuals with narcolepsy to learn more about ongoing research studies or for additional information about their disorder?
So one of the great resources, narcolepsyproject.com, and it's a actually very well laid out website. I was just checking it out a few days ago, and it lists all the narcolepsy trials. In fact, you can shortlist and filter. Once you put in your address or location, then it'll give you the trials that are actively going on in your communities, in your cities, and then it'll give you contact information on how to reach those individual sites. It also helps you understand the mechanism behind narcolepsy. So it's very, very focused on narcolepsy, and I think it's a very, very good resource for our patients to look at. And I would encourage all our viewers, all our listeners, is to openly look at the research trials, consider participating in these trials, because that's the only way we advance the sleep science. That's the only way we have access to the cutting edge medications for rare sleep disorders like narcolepsy. So really, it's very satisfying, and that's what the feedback that our participants give us as well. So I would encourage everyone who's watching this, who's listening to this, is to go to either your sleep clinic or reach out to us. Our website is MWCSD.com, or look at narcolepsyproject.com as well to have more information and how you can enroll in these trials.